A very good morning to you all. And let me welcome you once again to the ULS University on behalf of Department of Export Agriculture, Faculty of Animal Science and Export Agriculture. And within this the short presentation, I am going to discuss with you very important thing at the inception, very first day of your career at the ULS University. Actually, there I titled this thing as a preparing for a planned journey. And after completing your school education, primary education, secondary education, and now we have come to a very important juncture, important chapter in your life. And this is going to be very important. Why it is very important? Because this is going to be very important because of this particular chapter or this particular journey going to determine the success of your life or success of your future. Right? Next 4 years going to be very important chapter in your life. So that if it is very important, definitely it should be a very planned and very organized journey. So that when it comes to the planning, as you could see these slides, this is a Japanese proverb. It says that if you are failing to plan, mean you are planning to fail. Right? If you are not planning, mean in other words, you are planning to fail. So that planning is very important in any aspects of your life. And if I ask you a question, whom you wanted to be, and of course this is going to be a very conventional the type of a question, and we were asked this question number of times, particularly when we were a kid. If somebody asks whom you wanted to be, actually there we do have different dreams and different admission. For instance, some say I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lecturer, or I want to be an engineer, I want to be a pilot, and so on. And of course, it's very important for us to have a dream in our life, ambition in our life, but particularly at this particular juncture, it should not be just a dream, it should be a target. Right? It should be a target, and through our career, we are going to achieve this target. Right? It's not just a dream, it's not an ambition, it's a target. So that if it is a target, then we should prepare for this thing. Right? Just like personal targets and objectives, if we take our university, ULS University, and university also, we do have a vision for our university, we do have a mission for our university, and vision of our university is to be the central of excellence for value addition to the national resource base. This is our vision of the university, and we are all working towards actualizing this vision. And how we are going to achieve this thing? Through this mission. In our mission, we committed to produce well-rounded, employable, technocrat and entrepreneurial graduates equipped with knowledge, skills, values, attitudes to make outstanding contribution to the national development, together with excel in teaching, research, and strong emphasis on the value addition. Value addition is one very important aspect in our the university, in our the work. So that with this mission, we wanted to transform you to a very well-rounded, employable graduate towards the end of the 4 years of your undergraduate period. And if we take this entire process, study process within the university, and they are going to be a very comprehensive academic program. You will be going through this thing. There you learn lots of subjects through this comprehensive academic program. And then again, you will be engaged in research activities, practicals and research activities, very important in your university career. And together with, there are going to be some other activities. For instance, the outreach activities. So this may be co-curricular activities as well as the extracurricular activities. You will be engaging in number of such activities. So all these three components are very important, very critical for you to develop as a well-rounded graduate. Right? By conducting all these the activities, all these the processes, they are what we really expected is to add value to yourself. Right? Add value to yourself, and in turn, we are expecting you will be adding value to the national resources. This is the process of developing the undergraduate. And at the same time, in our university, another very important concept in our university is the entrepreneurial approach of the university. Let me talk a bit on this entrepreneurial approach and why it is important. For an university, for a nation, for a person, why this, what is this entrepreneurial approach and why it is very important. But if we take this education process, of course, we know that through education, what we are doing is creation of knowledge. Through research and development, there we create knowledge, right? And then we make use of this knowledge to add value to resources. For instance, what are these resources? That may be the human resources and the other, the physical resources. Through this knowledge and the technology, there we add value to our resources. And by adding value, what we are expecting is to produce goods and service that can be sold in the marketplace. So in other words, we call the commercialization, right? This is the process we are doing. And then we know that if we take the education process, to run education in a country, the primary education, secondary education and tertiary education, there we need money. From where we get this money? Actually, through these commercial activities, they are through tax and other means, there we get the money to this education, the process, right? Education process, we have to invest on this thing. Money is coming from this, the commercial activities. Then the money we spend on education should be turned back into money. Otherwise, we would have to keep on investing on money to education, but there won't be any the output. So that again, as I explained you, this knowledge creation should add value and should make commercializable product and services. Then it will create the wealth. So entrepreneurship is very important for this process. So that suppose that if the universities or the higher education institution not creating knowledge and not doing contribution to the value addition and commercialization, then what will happen, right? Then it's not going to be productive, as well as we cannot run this cycle. Then there won't be money to spend on education. So that as a country, it's very important to have this entrepreneurial approach in our education process. So that UWLS University, we are strongly believe on this thing and we are working hard on this thing. And if I take, if I talk a bit on this entrepreneurial, the process, of course, you may be learning this thing in depth and you may be practicing this thing in times to come. If I briefly explain what is this entrepreneurial process, and this one simple definition given by the Joseph Schumpeter, he says it's create new product or services, create new processes, create new market, and create new form of organization. By doing all these things, what we are trying to do is to create new wealth. This is the entrepreneurial process, right? There we have to come up with new product and services, and again we have to develop new processes of doing this. For instance, agriculture, even in other fields, and we have to find new markets, and we have to form new form of organization doing business. By engaging in these activities, there we can create the new wealth. The new wealth is very important for economic development, growth and the development. So this is the entrepreneurial, the process. And this is the process what we are really promoting through our degree programs and through our the activities. Right. Then I'll move on to very simple arithmetic calculation. I just want to share with this thing. Let's see what are these the values, right? In this, there you could see the 50,000 into 12 is going to be 600,000. 600,000 going to into 30 is going to be 18 million. Then 600,000 into 20, then it is again going to be 12 million. Altogether 30 million. Now, what are these figures? Can you guess what are these figures? Of course, this is a calculation of average government servant, the salary. If we take the average salary of a government servant, it's going to be somewhere around 50,000 rupees. So that within a 1 year, he is going to earn 600,000. And suppose that particular, the government servant work for 30 years, right? He is going to get 18 million, right? And let's assume that that person worked for, got a retirement of 20 years of retirement. He enjoyed 20 years of retirement. There again, he is going to get another 12 million and altogether going to be 30 million. This the income is going to get after working 50 years, right? And then let's take another scenario. This is the scenario where the average private sector salary is somewhere around 100,000. In that case, within a 1 year is going to get 1.2 million, and if that person work for 30 years, going to get 36 million. And usually they do not have the pension, but still they do have EPF, ETF and other payments. They are going to get 36 million, and altogether is going to be 72 million. Right? These, of course, the average private sector, the employee going to get after 50 years of the service. Right? And there you could see that it is almost double the public sector or the government sector, the employee. Right? Let's move to the scenario. And the highest paid private sector employee in Sri Lanka. Can you imagine his salary? Right? He is going to get 12 million per month. His monthly salary is 12 million. So that within 3 months, he is going to get 36 million. Right? Within 3 months. That is more than the 50 years of the income of a public sector employee. And then within 6 months, he is going to get 72 million. That is almost equal to the 50 years of service of an average private sector, the employee. So there you could see the difference between these things. Right. And anyhow, all these are the employees. The public sector or the private sector, they are working under someone we call their employees. Right. Let's take another the scenario, that is these the figures related to the Sri Lankan richest businessman according to the declared the financial statement in 2021, and his annual income in terms of US dollars, $1 billion US dollars. Right? And if we convert this into Sri Lankan rupees, it's going to be 365 billion rupees. That is per 1 year. If we divided this, if we convert this into million, it's going to be 365,000 the millions. Right. Then we'll divided this by 365 per day income. Right. What is the per day income of this businessman? Is going to be 1,000 million. 1,000 million rupees per day. And if we look at per hour, his earning is going to be 41 million. Within 1 hour, his income is very much greater than the average private sector, the employee. And per minute, he is getting 7 lakh or the 700,000. These, there you could see, this is the earning capacity. So that this is what we are highlighting, that when it comes to the entrepreneurship, there is no the limit. There is no, we call the sky is the limit. Right? The income earning capacity is unlimited. Right? So that just by going through this thing, now it is really a good time or the high time for you to reflect on this thing. Right? And you have to decide whom I wanted to be. Right? Do I need to be a government the servant, or do I want to be average private sector employee, or do I want to be a highest paid private sector employee, or otherwise, am I going to be an entrepreneur? Right? Am I going to be an entrepreneur, establishing a company, enterprise, and giving jobs to other people? Right? Then you have to think of what is the priority, or what is the choice. It's very important at this juncture for you to reflect on this thing. Right. With all these things, you have to think of what do you need. Right? It is up to you to decide on this thing. Of course, the private sector and the public sector, all these things are very important. Right? We need to have the public sector employees, we need to have a private sector employees, as well as it's very important for us to have the entrepreneurs in the country. And then if we look at what our country is needed, what is the country needs, right? And actually at this particular moment of time, we are going through a very critical period, and we are facing a very severe economic crisis. And if we analyze what is the reason for this economic crisis, is basically is that we are not producing as much as we are consuming. Right? We are not producing as much as we are consuming. Every time the consumption is greater than the production. So that every time there are going to be a deficit. Right? Over the period of time, this deficit has been accumulated, and now we are in a very critical situation. But if we analyze the business, the portfolio of the country, right? And there you could see what are the different scale of businesses in our country. And if we take the micro businesses, they are going to be 1 million. The micro businesses, those are we call informal business. For instance, the person who's selling lottery tickets out in the street, those are informal micro business. Like those business, they are going to be about 1 million such business. And then small businesses, usually small business we define, they are going to be 1 to 9 employees, small businesses. There are such business 74,000. And the medium scale business, they are employees 10 to 49. There are about 11,000 medium scale enterprises. And then large scale businesses, employees 49 to 300. There are only 2,400 such large businesses. That is the country, the situation. And when it comes to the economic growth and development, as I mentioned, these are the wealth creation, entrepreneurship is very important. So that the thumb rule is that at least there should be 3 to 5% of entrepreneurs in a country to develop, to grow and expand the economy in a sustainable way. Right? There should be 3 to the 5%. So that if you just calculate how many entrepreneurial businesses is required for our economy, right? Our population to 22 million, so that there should be at least 700,000 enterprises, right? What we have right now, of course, this informal business we cannot consider as a formal business activity, so that we can just add up only small businesses, medium businesses and large businesses. Altogether, it's going to be only 88,400. The requirement is 700,000, so that we need more than 600,000 of such business, right? If you are to run this economy, if you are to develop this economy in a sustainable way, this is the requirement, right? So that's why this entrepreneurship is very important, and that's how that's why we are working on this thing, and we are highlighting this thing and emphasizing on this thing. This is the country, the requirement. And also, it's better to keep these figures in your mind. In the country, there are 1.7 million, some are the recipient, and equal number of government employees, 1.7 million, and the private sector, 4.6 million, and altogether our labor force is about 8 million. These 8 million people work together, and within a year, the wealth generated by this the workforce is 80 billion US dollars, right? Annual GDP 80 billion US dollars. And if you just compare this thing with some other the figure, for instance, I just take the annual income of Amazon company. You know that the Amazon, right? Their annual income is 469. It is almost 6 times, nearly 6 times of our annual GDP of the country, right? And then see that only 1.6 million people, for the employees work there, and they generate 6 times than the GDP. There you could see where are we and what is our level of the productivity, what is the level of or the scale of our economy. So these things are very important for us to reflect on and for us to work on. But with all these things, they are once again I am appealing you that you reflect on this thing and think of whom you wanted to be, right? Whom you wanted to be, and how you are going to develop yourself, and how you are going to contribute to the country's the development. And in this process, another thing I just want to highlight you that actually in this undergraduate process, there you have to acquire different skills on top of the knowledge and other things. It's very important to acquire these skills. This particular set of skills we call 21st century skills. Actually, these the skills to be possessed by undergraduate to be competitive in the job market, or even to do some entrepreneurial activities. These skills are critically important, right? In these skills, there are 3 sets of skills: the learning skills, literacy skills, and life skill. If you take the learning skills, that is critical thinking, then the creativity, the collaboration, and the communication. And when it comes to literacy, information literacy, media literacy, and the technology literacy. when it comes to life skills, it's going to be the flexibility, then the leadership, initiative, the productivity, and the social skills. These are very important, right? And our degree program have been designed in such a way for you to acquire these skills, so that you have to be mindful and you have to be reflective on these things, and you have every time you should take your best the advantage of acquiring these skills. This skill set is very much important on top of the knowledge you are going to gain through this degree program. So that with this thing, I just want to appeal you to reflect on this thing. Now you just start a new journey, and it should be a planned journey, and you should know what is going to be the final outcome of this thing, and accordingly you should plan out your all activities, your academic activities, your research activity, the other outreach activity, and even your day-to-day life and your social activities, right? And actually I just want to share with you, and this is my appeal to wind up this speech, that is, add value to yourself. First you have to add value to yourself, and in turn then you should be able to, you would be in a good position to add value to the national resources, so that you are going to be a very successful person, and again the country going to be a very prosperous country. And thank you very much, and good luck for your new journey. Thank you.